Hurricane Melissa, a Category 5 hurricane, 175-mile-an-hour winds, about to make landfall in Jamaica tonight, and then on to southeastern Cuba, and then into the southeastern Bahamas. And of course, all storms always wind up going to Bermuda, so this may wind up doing the same thing. We have our own issues with other storm systems that we're going to be dealing with this week. We're going to talk about all of this and much more tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And if you would like to support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast where it doesn't cost you anything, just do your Amazon shopping using our referral link that's on the description of this podcast on YouTube, just under the title. Just search for your stuff and shop, and Amazon throws us some coin for getting you for sending you there. And again, nothing out of your pocket, all out of theirs. And it helps to keep the Joe and Joe Weather Show live version of the podcast here commercial free. So we appreciate those of you who have supported us or may consider supporting us. And if you need a weather station, Tempest by Weatherflow makes a great holiday gift. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. You'll join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. Easy to install, runs off your mobile device. The link for this is on the pinned to the top of the chat board, as well as being on the description of this podcast. And we have a coupon code for you, and Joe Rayo knows what that coupon code is.
It is Autumn 2025, and if you do use the coupon code, you will get 10% off any item that you purchase from Tempest, and quite frankly, that's a pretty good deal.
Yep. So we've got Melissa on the screen. I mean, I guess if you want to call it a textbook Category 5 hurricane, this one is it. You can't help. I mean, those of you who are really into weather can certainly relate to the fact that you can't really help looking at these sorts of things and just being in awe of the amazing power that something like this has. I mean, it's just mind blowing when you see something like this that reaches almost the limits of peak intensity here on planet Earth, Joe. Couple of observations. I don't know if you noticed this today on some of the recon reports that came back. I believe that they had a flight level gust of 220 miles an hour. So if you reduce that to the surface, it's probably around 190. And also the recon folks had to leave because the turbulence was so bad. They also observed birds in the eye wall, which was quite fascinating. The poor things are trapped inside the hurricane.
Right. That is very sad. They can attempt to go through the eye wall and try to escape, but it's not likely they're going to escape. So they're pretty much stuck in there.
Yeah, it's offshore of Jamaica. I've got a birder lady sent me this link that had all these different radars to them, and very useful tonight. This is a 24-hour loop of Melissa, and it's from the perspective centered near Guantanamo Bay, so you can see what's going on in Jamaica. I mean, they've been getting bands of heavy rain, and for those of you who've never been to Jamaica, the terrain there is formidable, and you're getting moisture like that's coming in that gets additional lift because of the mountains. You're going to put down tremendous amounts of rainfall out of this. And that's separate, by the way, from the fact that we're going to be dealing with destructive winds when this thing makes landfall.
That's absolutely true. If you were here with us last night, I said this was going to be nature's way of a 1-2 punch. The first punch, of course, has been all the rain that they've experienced and will continue to experience. But later tonight, and especially so tomorrow, they're going to get the brunt of those extremely strong winds. As Joe mentioned, it's a Cat 5, and from what I saw, Joe, the eye wall, or the eye itself, is going to be passing over, I think, the western and central sections of Jamaica, and there are going to be places that are going to receive winds for a few hours tomorrow of 125 to 150 miles per hour. So if if the tremendous rains that have been falling and will continue to fall, if that doesn't get you, certainly the winds are going to be of a very serious consequence.
It's not often either on the second radar loop that I'm showing you. Now, this is from the perspective of from Jamaica. You clearly can see where the center is. Now, it's a little jumpy because there's probably some time frames here that are missing. Uh, just kind of look. There's this actually only goes to about 1 o'clock this afternoon. I'm sorry, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I mean the eye is just almost perfectly circular. You just don't. We've seen weaker storms, and you see the radar presentation and the satellite presentation. It's nothing like what you're seeing here. I mean, this is a perfectly circular, wound up buzzsaw that is now beginning to turn a little more northwest. So it looks like it's actually going to go over the more narrow part of Jamaica on the western side. So when it comes out the other side, it's probably not going to weaken a whole lot. It's still going to be a strong category 4 when it comes out to the other side and then makes its way for another landfall in eastern Cuba probably tomorrow night.
It is about as bad. And of course, one name that has suddenly emerged in all of this is a name that those of us who have been around for a long time, remember very well, Gilbert. And Gilbert was, in its own right, a very powerful, a very destructive hurricane. That was the last one that was in the area in and around Jamaica. And now Melissa comes their way, and Melissa may be as bad, if not even worse. Gilbert, by the way, was 1988. So that's 12 and
37 years ago.
37 years.
And I think I read the other day that the one prior to Gilbert was 37 years before that. So they have the number 37 here as it seems to be in play here.
Yep.
The last three hurricanes we're separated by 74 years, coming 37 years apart, which is an odd coincidence, but nonetheless a coincidence. But again, well developed. You can see these bands here, some really well developed bands of very heavy rain just pounding the island right now, and the center is going to be approaching overnight and making a landfall, and then coming out of the other side. The reconnaissance aircraft. There's one there now. Actually, there are two of them there now, and I'm going to see if I can pull up. I think everybody and their mother is on tropical tidbits, so this may take a while. I did see a recent pass. They carried 906 millibars on the last advisory. So yeah, bad gateway. That means everybody's going on. Oh, here we go. 906 millibars earlier. The one I saw on the graph. Okay, so here's this was as of 7:32 Eastern Time, 912 millibars. So we seem to have come up a little bit from the extreme that we saw earlier today of 906, but not a huge difference between 9.6 and 9.12. We'll put it that way. And here's the on the graph. You see the pressure line going down almost to 910 in red. In blue, with the wind gusts at flight level, looks like probably at about 150 knots. So they're probably going to leave the wind speed alone on the next advisory, I would assume. But at this stage of the game, Joe, it's just a matter of waiting, just waiting for it to make landfall. If it weakens, or if there's an eye wall replacement cycle at the last minute, that might be a little helpful to bring the pressures up from these extreme lows. But it's still going to be destructive no matter what.
Yeah, no question about it. No way. And I was watching some reports of reporters who were on Jamaica, and it didn't appear that it was so bad where they were. Although one reporter said it seems to come in cycles or spurts. Like all of a sudden it rains like you've never seen it before, and then there's a halt to all of that. And I guess that's what we were looking at. We were looking at one of those periods when there really wasn't much happening. But as I said, they are receiving today and tonight. The worst part of it is the rain, and then tomorrow, with the projected track taking the eye very close to, if not directly over, the island, they're going to be receiving tremendous winds that, well, are going to be catastrophic. There's no question. I mean, how do you not get around 125 to 150 mile per hour winds? That's devastating. And while we haven't really seen that much devastation today with what rain has fallen, mark my word, tomorrow and especially so on Wednesday, you're going to see a lot of destruction in the aftermath of the passage of Melissa.
And we're not going to know for days. It's probably going to be several days. Um, I'm,
Oh
I'm,
yeah,
I'm,
and the
I'm guessing the
electricity.
island is just going to be cut off. So whoever's, unless you're already there, you're not gonna, nobody's going to be getting in or getting out at this stage.
Well, I can remember, working on television. They had backpack units, and these are amazing. I mean, you could work off a backpack. We used to have, trucks with, we need the microwave truck in order to transmit live images from a specific spot. But now the backpacks, it looks a little, the reception looks a little crude, but you're still seeing what's going on, and this is, without the need of electricity. So that may be the way that we're going to see whatever has happened tomorrow and Wednesday on Jamaica is these special units that have the ability to transmit without the use of power. And on the island, how many days, how many weeks do you think it's going to be before Jamaica gets back to its full power in terms of electricity? Remember what we saw in Puerto Rico, and now we're looking at Jamaica, and the main city, over 1 million people, is Kingston, and Kingston, well, they may have seen, or will be seeing, they'll be in the dark for a number of days, if not weeks to come.
The Hurricane Center's carrying a motion of northwest of 3. If you follow the eye, I mean, this thing is so strong, it's kind of just wobbling. It actually looks like it's moving south or southeast on the last bunch of frames, but it's actually just kind of, coiling its way. When you mean it out over about 3 or 4 hours time, you notice that there's generally a northwest motion. But the momentum of this thing is just tremendous with respect to how it could basically control the atmosphere. The atmosphere is going to do what it wants and not necessarily, what the hurricane wants it to do. The outflow, tremendous. You can see the big cirrus outflow going across northern Cuba and into the Bahamas. And by the way, I saw mentioned on one of the networks about, bands of rain in Florida. It's not from this. I mean, this is where writers and producers get incredible. They just get incredibly lazy, and just put two and two together and get five. Showery rains that were going on in Florida today, nothing to do with the hurricane. I mean, if you look at what's going on, even the weather in much of Cuba is really not producing very much at the moment. Everything is in this sort of tight little ball that is surrounding the center of the hurricane as it moves on to the north, so northwest. So on the 5 o'clock advisory, it's 7:50 Eastern time. I don't think we don't have the 8 o'clock yet. 16, excuse me, 16.7 north, 78.4 west. Top winds 175 miles an hour. The movement they were carrying was northwest at 3. And on the actual advisory, I just want to get the geography, the specific point. So of 100, it's the center is still, it's still 140 miles southwest of Kingston. So it's going to have to start moving at more than 3 miles an hour if it's going to make landfall tonight. So it should start to move and pick up some speed, moving northward and eventually northeast. So 140 southwest of Kingston, Jamaica. It's 320 miles southwest of Guantanamo in Cuba. 906 was the pressure on the 5 o'clock advisory, 26.76 inches. I think most barometers don't go that low. Correct, Joseph?
I don't know very few barometers that do get down to that's like parts unknown.
Oh yeah. Exactly. All right, we're going to check back in a little while when the 8 o'clock advisory comes in, so we could just get going with what's going on around the country. And actually, from the standpoint of adverse weather, not a whole lot. There is rainy weather going on. Actually, I picked up over 3.5 inches of rain today, which was
Wow.
amazing. Flash flood watches up in a few counties in along the Florida East Coast, right about the middle part of the coast. We've got frost advisories back in West Texas. Also, various pockets of freeze warnings and a few other things. You got freeze warnings in Northern California. You got heat advisories in Southern California. So go figure. Talk about two climates. But not much in the way of anything really adverse, like severe thunderstorm watches or anything like that. It's pretty quiet. And the weather in the Northeast, if we look at the latest surface map, you've got this big high in eastern Canada that's wedging down all the way down the coast. And there's a low now that's off the South Carolina coast. This is the first of two systems this week. This one's going to pass out to the south of Long Island and New Jersey by a pretty good distance. So you're not going to see any rain out of this. But that's going to move away to the northeast. And then we'll start paying attention to all of the energy that's up in the plains because we're going to have low pressure that's going to be diving southeastward. And that's going to bring rain and wind Wednesday night and Thursday. Actually, Joe, I think the wind may start to pick up sooner than that. It's probably going to start picking up along coastal areas during tomorrow because the gradient's going to gradually be getting tighter over the next couple of days.
Yes, the late Tex Antoine, those of us who used to watch Tex in the 60s and 70s, when we ever had a system like this, he often used to say that it's the equivalent of the looking inside your wristwatch. That the band was was too tight, so to speak. The isobars in the pressure gradient of a storm like this are so tightly wound together. And you're right, Joe, that once the storm is upon you, or not even upon you, but once the edge of the storm arrives in your vicinity, you will see those winds increase dramatically because of the tightness of the pressure gradient, and that's exactly what we're looking at here. And you're right too. When you described it as a ball, it is kind of like a tightly wound ball of energy, and that's rolling. It's amazing. You said 140 miles southwest of Kingston, Jamaica, and it's only moving right now at about 5 or 6 miles per hour. It sounds like it's going to take forever to get there, but eventually it's going to start, accelerating, and will eventually be on top of the island by this time, certainly tomorrow.
Mr. Rich Rothmansky, by the way, just putting up the 8 o'clock advisory, carrying again 175, moving northwest at 305 degrees at 2 miles per hour. And a minimum pressure, they're carrying 909 versus 906 earlier, 26.85 inches. You can see here from the perspective of the whole U.S. loop, a lot of clouds. And as I said, there was quite a bit of rain that moved across the deep south and into the southeast. And see the bright white clouds up into Virginia and then out to the east and offshore of the Carolinas. So this first storm system, even though it's trying to lift northward, you can look at all the dry air that's over the Great Lakes and much of the Northeast. There's also a little swirl that's sitting over Nova Scotia. So all of that is basically blocking this first system from moving up the coast. So it's going out. But again, if you look up in Canada, it's a little hard to see here. But from the Dakotas, you see those clouds are moving northward. To the northwest of that, there is a strong upper air disturbance that's going to be diving southeastward all the way down into the Tennessee Valley. And this is going to make for another storm system that is going to be impacting much of the east, but particularly the mid Atlantic and into New England, where we're going to see a windswept rain coming up Wednesday night and into Thursday. No severe weather is being indicated by the Storm Prediction Center, but you can see the radar tonight in Southern Virginia, much of North Carolina into South Carolina. We've got areas of moderate to heavy rain. They also extend back into Kentucky and a very small portion of southern West Virginia, but most of that is now again sliding out to the east. Also seeing some rain showers and a few thunderstorms across the middle part of Florida. And we've got the next weather system, and you can see the curl there on the radar signature, indicative of a strong short wave. Showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder running from south to north, from northeastern Colorado through Nebraska, South Dakota, and on up into North Dakota and western Minnesota, and then even further north than that into Canada. Now, WPC is very bullish on rainfall amounts from this Wednesday night, Thursday system, Mr. Rayo. And for New England, it'll be more like Thursday into Thursday night. From New Brunswick and the St. Lawrence River Valley all the way down through Virginia, we're looking at anywhere from 1.5 inches to, in some places, 2.5 inches of rain. And that goes back to Ohio and Kentucky and West Virginia. Now, the North Carolina amounts are high too, but some of that is going on now. So we're probably going to have to do a little bit of adjustment there in terms of what falls and subtracted out. But it certainly could be another 3/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches for places from southern Virginia down into North Carolina and northern portions of South Carolina, and even by me, indicating another 1.5 inches plus. So this next system could be a pretty decent rain producer.
Yeah, I think, in fact, the worst of this. I think that, first of all, I think the rains will arrive, at least in the immediate tri-state area of the lower Hudson Valley, anytime after about 6 o'clock on Wednesday, 6 o'clock in the evening. Light rain at first, and then it looks like the heaviest rain, the most significant rains, are going to be concentrated in a 6-hour time frame from about noontime to 6 o'clock in the evening on Thursday. And during that time, Joe, even though I know SPC doesn't really have much to say in terms of convective activity, I wouldn't be surprised if we had some cracks of thunder or see some lightning during that time frame, because it is going to be a very potent surge of rain. The front, the storm itself is going to be off to the south and west, but what's going to cause all the wet weather is the actual front, a warm front or occluded front or whatever you want to call it, coming straight up out of the south and across our area, literally like cracking the whip, so to speak. And it's during that time frame that we should see the majority of 1 or 2 inches of rain. That probably will lead to localized flooding conditions. It does not look very pretty for the afternoon and evening commute home on Thursday if this all pans out.
But it does look like much of it, I mean, not in upstate New York and northern New England, but every place else to the south, much of it it's going to be gone by Friday, which is Halloween.
Well, I said I always like to play devil's advocate, and I know a lot of people are going to be out and about on Friday or Friday evening, and I'm saying a lot of clouds, still rather breezy, and there might be 1 or 2 spots where there'll be a shower passing by. It's certainly nothing that's going to compare to 24 hours earlier on Thursday, but I wouldn't rule out the possibility of a couple of lingering or stray showers still around on Friday.
Now in the Northeast and into the northern Mid-Atlantic states, it's another cold night for tonight, and we will squeeze out another dry day tomorrow, although the flow does start to get more onshore-ish during Tuesday night and particularly on Wednesday. So I think that's when we'll start to see some clouds. And if you believe the GFS, there's actually some measurable light rain being indicated right along the immediate coast later Tuesday night and during the day on Wednesday. And then it starts to pick up later Wednesday afternoon in southern New Jersey down into Virginia. And here comes the low that's going to be doing all of this, diving out of Colorado, getting all the way down into western Tennessee, and then just sort of rotating its way eastward. Now, there'll be a primary low that'll go up the Appalachians. There'll probably be a low that develops on the triple point between the cold front, the warm front, and the occluded front, and you see it there in southeast Virginia late Wednesday night. You also could see Melissa coming out of the southeastern Bahamas Wednesday evening and then making its way somewhere near Bermuda. And, of course, those two systems are just kind of moving in tandem here as they head up northeastward. And yeah, some heavy rain during the day on Thursday into Thursday afternoon. And then again, we get the worst of it probably as the occlusion goes by. Um, Also, there is going to be a pretty good fetch of northeast to east winds and then going more southeast come Wednesday night and Thursday. So there's probably going to be some coastal flooding issues. The plus side to this time around is that we don't have we're right in the middle of we're in the quarter moon phase. So
Right.
the tides are not going to be running as high as they otherwise would be, say, if we were in a new moon or a full moon. So that's a plus, but there's probably going to be some I would say minor to moderate coastal flooding possible at high tides with this thing. And then once that goes by, actually, it might even mix or change over to some wet snow in upstate New York at some of the higher elevations and up into eastern Canada. It rolls away. We get into some colder air again as we go into the weekend. A brief warm up as the flow turns more northwesterly, and we're sort of borderline. When I say warm up, we're not talking very much. And then eventually later next week, there's a stronger cold front that comes through, or late next week, there's a stronger cold front that comes through and trying to show a rather sizable cold air mass dropping down into the eastern part of the United States. Models been going back and forth on this the last couple of days. Will it? Won't it? Is it going to? Is it not going to? It's still showing up. Just I guess still trying to sort out the timing in the long range. But Melissa's going to take a while to get out of the way here, I think, because it's still just creeping. But eventually, it is going to get caught up in everything that's going on in the southeastern U.S. and should start to accelerate to the northeast before too long.
Yeah, and well, after this mayhem for us, the wet weather on Thursday, maybe a couple of leftover showers on Friday, a slow improvement. I think in the upcoming weekend, Saturday looks to be the cloudier day, and Sunday looks like to be the brighter day. And we may even have that bright weather continue into the start of the week next week on Monday. And then maybe another disturbance passes on by with maybe a few more showers Monday night next or early next week on Tuesday. We'll see.
All right, we have a second recon pass here. So it looks like it's around 9:10ish on the pressure. This was at 8 minutes before 8 o'clock, so 12 minutes ago, and a peak flight level wind of just under 155 knots. So this thing just seems to be holding its own. I was starting to wonder today whether we were going to break the 900 mark, and I guess it's still possible. But a lot depends on whether there's an eyewall replacement cycle or not, because that's typical in these big storms. It can only get so strong for so long, and then the eye wall degrades, and it's just got to go through a cycle where it basically replaces itself. And sometimes those cycles can take 12 hours or 18 hours. If a cycle develops, the storm will weaken from the standpoint of pressure. Sometimes it can weaken significantly until the eye wall replacement cycle is done. It doesn't appear that this will be one of those where it'll weaken maybe some, but not a whole lot to make a big difference, make any kind of difference into what the impact is going to be to Jamaica and eventually to Cuba, to eastern Cuba.
Sorry about the noise in the background. I'm making a printout of something, but
Oh, I thought somebody was vacuuming.
no, no. That's funny thing. You mentioned that our vacuum cleaner broke,
Oh,
so we've
that's
ordered we've
that's
ordered
tr-
we've
that's
ordered a new
tragic.
one. I think it was supposed to arrive today, or it'll arrive tomorrow.
What kind of vacuum cleaner?
Oh, we had a Sharp vacuum. I think we're
Hmm.
ordering a
Oh,
Hoover
those
now.
suck. Go.
They better. So who has
Uh,
Brother Jeopardy tonight?
I think. Do I have it, or who had it last night? We didn't do it last night.
No, we didn't.
Okay, so I think I have it. Just a minute. Let me bring it up here on the screen for our or if I could find it. While I'm trying to find it, welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. Those of you who are lurking in the background, big hello to you too, to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. It's been a lot about Hurricane Melissa. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35, and Fridays and Saturdays are off days for us. But if there's a storm around, we often add shows. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, it'd be great if we hit the 100 likes. So if you like the show, you can share that feeling, that good feeling, by banging on the like button. We actually did go over 100 likes yesterday, Joe, before the show was done.
So I am told. Yes.
Yes. So I think we got to 104. All right, so we're doing average yearly snowfall. By the way, as Scott, mentioned to me that. Oh, there we go. We got 100 likes.
That's for last night.
Scott mentioned to me yesterday about the fact that I did remember this, but I needed my memory jog, as I was wondering about Boston's number being so high, and that's because Boston, as with New York and a bunch of other cities in the Northeast, particularly the coastal Northeast, their normals went way up when they were recalculated for the 1990 to 2020. So, New York City went up from 20 in the prior 20 years. The normals went from 20 to 25 to 30. So Boston's must have gone from 40 to 45 to 50. So that's why the Boston number is as high as it is. David Fuller bangs the tip jar. Thank you, David. More windy, I think, Thursday than Friday, although it still might be a bit on the breezy side on Friday. I don't know if it's going to be I don't think it's going to be advisory criteria on Friday. Okay, so average yearly snowfall for the following 5 cities. We'll start with Chicago.
Now this is annual? Annual snowfall?
Annual, yes. The average yearly snowfall.
For Chicago.
From July to June.
Well, I remember in 1967 they had 24 inches in one sitting, but that was... In 1979 they had more snow than they knew what to do with. But that's not typical for them. I'm gonna say for Chicago, I'll say 37.
That's a very good guess. It's a little low, but it's a very good guess. Frank Scalera right at the door at 38, and Miss Fowlerite gets a bell ring. 39, Joe. 39 for Chicago.
There you go, Miss Fowlerite.
Next, since we go through these alphabetically. The next one is Cleveland. Cleveland.
Oh dear, Cleveland. They can get lake effect. God. How about 80?
That's a little too high. Probably some areas east of Cleveland do get at least 80 inches. Rich Rothmansky and Patrick Darcy and William Uber are dancing around the number, which is 64, which Adam Lowe has. 64 is the number, Joe, for Cleveland. But there's a big difference. If you're east of Cleveland, it could be easily double that. And if you're west of Cleveland, it could easily be half. It could be maybe half to 3/4 of that. So anyway.
Cleveland, I'm told that of all the major cities, all the major U.S. cities that are, hit by, annual snowfalls or whatever, the best airport, the ones that clean out and get the runways cleaned out and the aircraft back on schedule, anywhere in the U.S. is Cleveland.
And by the way, I've been to Cleveland several times. It's a lovely city. It used to be the bane of a lot of comedians and jokes, but
the mistake on the lake.
Yeah, it isn't. It's a lovely city. Dallas, Texas.
Dallas, I don't know, 3.
Oh, that's actually a pretty good guess. That's a very close guess. I mean, if I round off the number that it is, 3 would be the acceptable answer, and it would beat 2, which is 0.6 less than the answer. 2.6, Joe. So if we round it off and you said three, like CWTR Shark and Michael McGuire, you get bell rings.
Thank you.
Hartford,
Shake myself. There you go.
Hartford.
Hartford. Hartford. Hartford. I'll say 40.
Too low. Too low for Hartford. Remember,
Okay.
these numbers have gone up. Rothmansky, you're on the doorstep tonight. You're just like missing it by, barely. 47 for Rothmansky and Cardillo. Adam Lowe gets it again at 48. 48.
48.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, I will say 29.
See, I would have thought it would be a number that's higher than it is, but actually that is rather high. Indianapolis. I just saw somebody who had it. Let's see, where is it? Oh, John Sachs 77 gets it 22, 22.
22. Wow.
Right, and the last one here is Portland, Maine.
Oh, Portland, Maine. Well, they said Boston had what, 52? You would think
Yeah,
Portland.
52.
You would think Portland would have something higher than that. I'll say 57.
The logic was correct. I will say the logic was correct, but wasn't correct enough. You needed to go higher. Um, William Uber at 61. You're almost there. Frank R, Joe. Frank R. 62. 62.
All right, I'm giving this first bell ring is for Frank R. And the second bell ring is the fact that we've hit 100 on the likes.
Oh, okay. I thought we hit 100 before we started this because you rang the bell.
No,
You rang the bell before we started this tonight.
I rang that for last night. You
Oh,
said
okay.
last night
So
we hit 100. We
it
were
was a
off the
back
air.
ring.
Yes,
It
yes.
was a back ring. Okay, a rerun ring.
A rerun
A
ring.
rerun ring. Okay. All right. I'm gonna do one last. Actually, I'm having. I guess everybody and their mother's trying to check on all this stuff with Melissa. So let's see if I can get one more recon in here. There's actually two planes in there at the same time. 912, and the last fix that I said was down around. We have two fixes here at the center. Two center passes were both down around 910. And the flight level wind on the second pass, we have two peaks just literally a hair under 155 knots. So Melissa is going to be historic, probably, certainly for Jamaica before this is all finished. Anyway, Bobby Livingsworth wants to know if they've come to start on my new kitchen yet. Actually, the cabinets are in. I got my dining room set in. I'm just waiting now for my countertops, which are going to be another 2.5 weeks, and my appliances, which will be here a week from Friday. So by mid-November, it's going to be all finished. I have to tell you, Joe, I got to give a shout out to Home Depot because they're doing they're doing my kitchen from start to finish, and it's been a great. I mean, everything has been on time. There have been no hiccups. People show up when they're supposed to show up. They show up early, okay, which is even better. And the work they did putting in the cabinets was spectacular. I couldn't be happier. The cleanup was perfect. Uh, the guys were really great while they were here. They answered all my questions, as I had a bunch of anxiety questions that you ask when this sort of stuff is done. But big shout out to Home Depot on at least for what I think was what's been a marvelous job so far.
Well, you if you want to give them credit, if they deserve the credit, give them credit.
And who knows? They may be a sponsor here. I don't know. I'm not sure. It wouldn't be nice, but yeah, no, they really did. They really did do a. They've done a great job so far, and I have no doubt everything's going to get finished on time, and I knock on wood, no issues. All right, super chat hits tonight came from let's see, David Fuller. I remember, yes, David Fuller. Thank you very much for a super chat tonight, and thanks everybody for being here on this Monday. And you and I will be back here at the same time tomorrow night, 7:35.
We'll be here, Joe.
Why don't you say good night?
Good night, everyone.
Nighty night.